Welcome to Opening the Door to the Unknown with your host, Dr. Clark Schmidt. Hello, and welcome to the studios of Opening the Door to the Unknown. I'm your host, Dr. Clark Schmidt. I thought I'd go into a little bit lighter talk since I've been working more with, as I call, heavy-duty metaphysical and esoteric side of the unknown. In chapter 8, I talk about spirits, guides, teachers, master teachers, angels, and how you may try to communicate with them. So I decided, since going through again YouTube in the metaphysical category, as I usually do when I have nothing better to keep the time occupied, is that I decided again to talk on the subject of guides, teachers, and master teachers. And move maybe just a little bit more in depth with this subject. So, where do I begin? Very simple. Everybody on YouTube in the metaphysical realm has, there we go, spirit boxes. And you turn on the box, whatever, or it might be an application that you have on your computer, and you begin to talk to spirit. And you might have a question, and you might have a question and answer time with them. Well, I do too. Sometimes I work with this box, and sometimes I work with the new one that's out on the market called Afterlight, the Afterlight box. I really begin to enjoy that application. I think it's a lot better, and I hate to say it, than the SCD-1 or the GB-1, and I have tried the Infinity box, which I like, but I think is that this new one that has come out by Extreme Senses, I really enjoy, because I'm getting a lot more out of it talking to my guides, teachers, and master teachers, and making new friends. In fact, if I can find it here, let me see here. Going up here. No, that's not it. Got it here somewhere. Just give me a minute. I got all these papers here. Here, as you can hear, I'm going to show you something. You see all these papers here? All these papers have been transcripts that I've been listening to when I record my sessions with these with the guides, teachers, and master teachers and friends And there's a lot of good stuff, which I'll be talking about, here we go, that I'll be talking about a little later on, okay? But at the moment, since I have been working with this box here, the Hack Shack, or working with after light box, is that I have over 40 names that have been given to me by Spirit. And as you can see here, here they all are. All right, here they all are. Now, a lot of them are my guides, teachers, and master teachers, and I'll show you where they begin, which is right, let's see here, starting with Dr. Browning, right here, and then it goes down, and let's see, I think there's a few that go, nope, okay, goes down to Cindy here. Then these are the new names over here that have cropped up, and I will be giving you some of these names. Like I said, they are kind of, they really are interesting. Oh, I forgot to mention, right here as well. Right here as well is, nope, not here. Right here as well has been all new names that have been given to me by Spirit. Okay. And what I do is, when I do talk to them in the morning, and sometimes at night, I try to get a confirmation of each name besides my guides, teachers, and master teachers. So I do have, like I said, about right as of now, I do have about 40 of them, and I have a sneaky hunch they will continue to. The more that I make contact, the more names will crop up and to be put on my, what I call my roster list. And believe me, when I go on the after light box, is that it takes me at least 20 minutes, believe it or not, at least 20 minutes to contact, to say good morning to every one of the 40 spirits here. At least 20 minutes. So by the time I want to get into some question and answers, I have to really cut it short, because I don't try to keep them longer than 30 seconds, an extra 10 minutes. So what I told them is, from now on, is when I just say good morning to them, is that to give me just good morning back, and just yell out their name as they're saying, as they're saying good morning to me, as to shorten the time, so I can get more into the question and answer part of my ritual in the mornings. A few of the names that have really come up, and like I said, I have confirmed the names, and just like I did with Harry Houdini as a guide. And I think that I mentioned how I got a hold of Mr. Houdini. It was last October 31st, his birthday, and I wanted to wish him a happy birthday, and all of a sudden he just said his thank you, and I said, who said thank you? And he said, Harry Houdini. And I asked him if he just stopped in just to be, for me wishing him that happy birthday, or was he my guide? And he answered guide. And so I was kind of amazed when he said that. But I also have a new one that's also a guide as well, and I don't know why Spirit has reasons. I think that I mentioned this in chapter 8. I think that spirits have reasons of picking people to become their guides, teachers, and master teachers. I think they do have reasons. It's just like if you go to it's just like when you went to high school or college or university setting. Is that usually a particular teacher, especially in high school, might take you under their wing, or like in a college or university setting, the professor might do the same. And I think that's what guides, teachers, and master teachers do, is that they take you under their wing I'm thinking of I'm trying to think of the word I don't want to say move you in the right direction, but as to give me just a second here. Did you ever have one of those days when you just can't think of a name or a word that you actually want to use? That seems to be happening to me more and more all the time. Maybe it's because I've been in English too. Maybe it's because I've been in English too much as a writer. So again, let me think of the word. Condition you. I'm going to say the word condition. To condition you for some particular reason. Again, it could be conditioning you to become a teacher, a prophet, a spokesman, or whatever. Okay, maybe as to write something like a book or paper on a particular subject that has fascinated you through communication with that guide, teacher, or master teacher, or even friends that you have made with spirit. So like I said, there's always a particular reason for them to connecting with you. And I guess maybe with me is because of my background as being in the metaphysical for as long as I have, and for the 2 books that I have written, and also for the lectures I have given, and also for the teachings that I have done. So it's I do thank them all the time for the extra help that I might need, and there's nothing wrong with that, because the more that you help them, the more that they help you, and the more that you help them, the more higher. If we go back to the ladder again, which I always like to use as the example, is to climb the rungs to get into a higher plane, a plane of existence, so they can shed off more of that coil of those different astral bodies, like like a snake shedding its skin twice in a season. So yeah, okay, I'm looking at the name who I want to talk about here. So anyways, this name came up on, let me see, again, I have to look at my transcripts here, let's see, let's see here, okay, on the 30th, okay, last month, on the 30th, that this person's name came up, and I was very surprised when that actually when that happened. And the name that came up was Nikolai Tesla. Yes, Mr. Tesla. And I have no idea why that he would happen to come, that he would happen to come through. But like I said, this happened on the 30th of last month, and it's got like and when I asked him the question of how long has he been with me, he said for quite Mr. Tesla said quite a while. But like I said, I have no idea why. But again, as I also mentioned, is that they do happen to connect with you for a particular reason. Haven't found out the reason yet, but if we all remember Tesla, is that he created, he was an inventor, all right? And since he was living in the time, and since Tesla was living in the time of the alchemists of the early 19th century, is that maybe he recognizes that I might have the talent as being an alchemist. Again, this is a conjecture on my part. I've been trying to reach him again, and every time I try to reach him is that another person's spirit tells me is that he's working. Just like with Harry Houdini, is that Mr. Houdini is learning what? I have no idea. So when they want to come in, it's just like you contact a friend of yours or friends of yours, and sometimes again they want to see you, and sometimes again they give the reasons why they don't want to come and stop and have a cup of coffee or a drink. I mean, and you really shouldn't. And if a spirit doesn't answer, you don't continue to push until to get them to notice you, because it's like, again, you don't want to get your friends pissed off because they don't want to be bothered. Okay, when a spirit wants to be bothered, they will definitely answer. Is again, they will definitely answer. As you can see, and sometimes they answer in a negative, and sometimes they answer in the positive. I've been getting a lot more positive than I am getting negative. In fact, yesterday I did a session. Was it a session yesterday, or was it today? I gotta think here. 8 to 3rd. Oh yeah, somebody called me, and it's very, and yes, it's right. Let's see here. Let's see. First of all, one of the spirits, I didn't get their. I kind of asked their name, why they said that. Said my voice sucks for some reason. And I'm a jerk off, and I am a cock. So those are the three things that kind of irritated these three spirits to say those particular words to me. But it's just like you have a friend that says, you're nuts, you're full of crap, or whatever, okay? I have a sneaky hunch is this is their way to really let you have it when they become irritated. All right. I did have yesterday, there was a demon and you know how I feel about demons in that sense, by lower spirit, that the spirit has resided on this physical plane of existence at one time, is that I did have a spirit, and I told him that he was not welcome, and I asked him to leave, and he screamed at me, and then he said bye. So he just left. So you can get rid of though that type of negativity around you when it comes through the spirit box. They'll be happy to leave. Just like you ask a friend, just like if you get pissed off at a friend, you can ask them to leave as well, and they'll give you a little hard time. But sooner than later, they do leave. They do leave, knowing is that they were being, as Lou Costello would say, being a bad boy. Okay, and they don't want to lose your friendship, but you don't want to be friends with demons either. I mean, you know. In fact, another one came through it in this morning's session, and I said, and I asked how many there were, and I got the answer of one. So I said to this negative entity is that, in fact, it's right here, that you're welcome to stay as long as you behave yourself, and I got the answer back. Okay, so. As long as they behave themselves, you know, it's not too bad. But like I says, you don't want to have friendships with lower negative entities. Because then they'll start to take over, and you don't want that. Okay, I just noticed here again from yesterday's session, I got Tesla, and he mentioned his name twice to me in a low voice. This is Tesla. This is Tesla, and I said hello, and then a woman came, in, and I've been having a very, I'm trying to think again of the word, a very strange rapport with a low baritone voice, and I keep asking in fact I'm calling him Mr. Baritone voice at the moment, and he won't give me he won't give me his name, but he said that woman, and I asked what woman, and this woman said silence. So again, I have no idea you know, why she silenced me in that sense. I also got by one of the guides or friends now was the word talent, and so I don't know again if this is Mr. Tesla saying talent to me, or if it was another guide teacher or master teacher or a friend. I also got the word, which I thought was funny, was the word bonk, you know, like bonk, and so I said, somebody must be having a good time, they must be playing a game or something, and I got a laugh, and I got a laugh back. Let me see here. One of them knew that I was tired, because he said tired, and I said yes. I didn't have a good night's sleep from the night before. So he came back and said hope tonight, and I said me too. let's see. Let's see what else here have I been getting. Like I said, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to just let them talk a while, just for a few moments. To let them talk for a few moments, just to hear what they have to say, or to play back if you really can't understand by using again your microphones. This was a good set. This was a good session I had here yesterday. I got the word. Somebody said very loud, very plain, skeptic, and I said, well, who's being? I says, well, I'm certainly not skeptical of with you. And I asked a question. Are you kind of skeptical of me? And the answer was, do something to see if I really existed or not. So I told him I was going to get a cup of coffee, and I came back, and one said coffee. So I said, well, see, I'm as real as you are. And then somebody said, outstanding. Let's see here. Before I end this and get more into what I really want to talk about, guides, teachers, and master teachers. Let's see here. Let's see. I got a couple of so sorries, and I asked a question. I says, don't ever say you're sorry, because you didn't do anything to be sorry for. There is one gentleman that I really have had a great rapport with for the last, I would say, maybe 4 months with the spirit box, and his name is Tobias. And I did some background checking on him. Very interesting person. That he comes from England, or on the, I think it was on the, I don't have my notes here with him, but on the north end of London. And he resided in 18. What was it? Like I said, I don't have my notes here. Resided in 60s, 70s, somewhere around there. And we have had a little chat once in a great while when he's around. And he really has connected with me. And he's funny. I mean, he has that Cockney type of accent, which makes it interesting, because of being on the north side of London. A lot of women have come through. In fact, I was just seeing here, it says, hi, Clark, and I got written down of who said that. That was from Tobias. And so, like I said, we've been having a great rapport, working with one another. I got another name came up, but I don't know if it came from the box. Okay, on the box it's Sally's, and Sally's I had to actually look up, and the word represents, if I can find again my notes here where I wrote it. Here it is. Okay, Sally's is that what I wrote it down, represents princess, or the nickname for Sarah, or authoritiveness, or a royal title. Now, why I got the name Sally's, I have no idea, but I'm going to be working on that at some point. Okay. I have been. I happen to see on YouTube. All right. I'll be watching. I'll be looking at you now. Okay. I have been watching some again on YouTube. There's been since this new app came out, and everybody's really enjoying it. I have noticed and have seen is that some people are going to try to connect with Lizzie Borden, for an example, or Elisa Lamb. Well, 2 days got to remember when I did. Okay, this morning. Well, actually, it was yesterday that I contacted. Believe it or not, with the help of my Joy Guide Daisy, which I love very much, is that I told her if she could go and get Elizabeth Borden for me, and within about 5 minutes she came back, and Miss Borden was with her. So I did ask her. I'm just looking for it now. Let's see here. I did. Let's see, is it on this side? Let's see here. Let me see here if it was on this page. Anyways, is that I asked Miss Borden a few times if she actually did murder her parents, and she wouldn't answer. But after requesting and telling her who I was as a researcher and also a paranormal investigator, plus also a doctor of esoteric sciences, she finally relented, and I asked her again, and I asked her to tell me the truth, and I asked if she murdered her parents, and I got on the box, I got a word, cousin. So I asked Miss Borden if she was trying to cover up for a cousin, and she said no. And I said, well, then I said, you must know then who murdered your parents, and she said, I did. And I said, I like to confirm this. Can you repeat what you just said? And she repeated, I did. And then I asked her if she had any remorse for the murder of her parents, and it was an equivocal, in a very straight, loud voice, no, which means that she had no emotions for the act. Right here. Let's see here. Had no emotions of killing her. Had no emotions of murdering her parents. I told her is that it's been so long that if she wanted to try to move up into a higher plane as to get out of to where she residing at the moment, is that all she has to do is declare her sorrow for the incident, and that will help her begin to climb the ladder into a little bit higher dimensional plane of existence. So I'll be working with her. I will definitely be working with her on that, because I told her that I will be continuing to make communication in that regards. So then I decided is that nobody wanted to say goodbye to me. So, in fact, and it was almost like I said is, well, does somebody want to say goodbye to me? And in unison, they said, no, no, which means is, oh. So I thought, okay, I decided to keep them just a little bit longer than what I would normally do, and I said, all right. Then I said, as if you say no, no, then that's fine. Would you please get me then, as to ask a couple of questions? Elisa Lamb, and was who was murdered at that well, I can't remember the name of the hotel right now in California. But anyways, somebody said why, and I said is because I like to talk to her and find out who murdered her, so she can try to move on get into a little bit higher plane of existence, and that's what I try to do. Not helping them cross over. Again, as you know, my belief is that you cannot help somebody cross over into, like taking them into the white light, or again, what I call is the elevator light to send them up into heaven. That ain't going to happen, and it will never happen. But as to try to help them through their own devices, as to learn again where to find the ladder, how to begin to climb up the rung, slowly climb up the rung to get into a higher dimensional plane, then we can do that. We can only help them in that sense. Okay, but like I said, you're not going to cross them over and getting them into the elevator of light to whoosh them up to heaven. That's again is BS. It ain't going to happen. So I said to Miss Lamb, I said, I just want to try to help you to resolve. If you can just give me a name of who you think might have murdered you. I said that will help to resolve the issue of why you're still on, of where you are, to try to get you to climb the ladder onto the next rung, to get you into a little bit higher plane of existence. And so I kept asking her, do you know, did you ever see the person that murdered you? Do you know the reason why that you were murdered? Like a detective, on the police department, trying to get the clues of this and that. Miss Lamb really couldn't tell me anything at the moment. So I said, okay. I said that's fine. I says I'm not going to press my luck on this, but I do thank you for coming. At least to speak to me, as to start a rapport, getting into a communication. So I told her I would be contacting her in the next few days, and I will keep everybody posted on just what responses that I got. Now, sometimes, which I haven't done for a while, in fact for a very long, for over a year, no, I think it's been about 2 years that I haven't done, and I should really get back into it, but I've been so busy, is that if I really want to communicate, I mean, using the spirit box here, or with the new one that I got, trying to communicate with spirit, is fun. But if I really want to get into some really in-depth detail, I will go into a meditative trance. Because I think is that by going into meditative trance, is that you have a better lock on with a spirit. Okay, and the reason why I say this is I'll give you a prime example. Is that my mother was in her, oh gosh, in her early 70s, and she fell one night, and she got up, or she called out. I'm trying to remember if she got up by herself. No, she called me, and so I got out of bed, and I went to find out what was going on, and here she was in another room, and she fell down, and I helped her up, and I helped her to bed. Well, the next morning she was in pain like you wouldn't believe. I mean, really in pain. And I said, "What's going on?" And she's just, and tears were coming down her, and she said, coming, down her cheeks. And I said, and she said, "I'm really in pain. I must have broke something last night." And I said, "I could get you to the hospital." And she said, "No, no, I don't want to go to the hospital." And I said, "Are you sure?" And she says, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay." So I called my chiropractor, and he normally didn't make house calls, but since it was me, is that he decided to come over, and he checked her out, and did try to do some adjustments on her back and whatever, and that didn't help. So then there was a commercial on TV about a roving, as I said, like a roving physician doctor who made house calls. And he just happened, and so I copied down a number, and I gave this doctor a call, and he just happened to be close in the neighborhood, and he said he'd be right over, and he did come over, and he felt, different locations on my mother's body, and he said, "As we got to get her to the hospital. She has a broken hip. She has a broken hip." And so I said to my mother, "I'll help you get dressed." Boom. And the hospital was only like about, thank God, like only about 4 blocks. And so I got her into emergency, and I waited with her, and she told me to go home, and she would call whenever the doctor was going to do the x-rays or whatever like that. So about an hour or two later, she finally calls, and she said is that she was staying they were going to put her in the hospital because she was going to have an operation on her hip the next morning. So I said, well, I would stop in. So I would stop in, and so I did that early evening, and we talked, and she was kind of afraid, being in her 70s like that and having a broken hip. But her orthopedic surgeon said is that she was going to be all right. He said is that he did a lot of operations on older people that needed a hip replacement. So we got to talking for a while, and I had a lot of after talking to him for a while, had a lot of confidence with this doctor. So anyways, I went home, and I decided to go into meditation and contact my joy guide, which I introduced you to in chapter 8, named Daisy, who's a wind sprite or an elemental of air. And I contacted her, and she told me that everything would be all right, and as to prove by what she was saying is that there would be a flower underneath my mother's window the next morning, and that once the operation was over and I got the phone call that mother, came through the operation with, with, with ease, is that the flower, that's daisy, by the way, would just disappear. So I came out of my meditative trance, and I went to bed. I woke up early the next morning, and I made myself some coffee, and I remembered, oh yeah, Daisy told me that there's going to be a flower outside my mother's bedroom window, and I went outside. Now I just cut the grass 2 days before, all right, 2 days before. So when I went outside and looked under my mother's bedroom window, there was this one flower, a daisy, and I ran into the house and I got my 35mm camera and I took a picture of it, just and I had it developed, and then as to finish out the roll that I already had in the camera, so I decided to go to Wolf Cameras and have the film developed, because I know it would only be a few hours, and so that's what I did. And that was the picture of the daisy. Anyways, is that my mother was supposed to have this operation, and which she did, and I waited and I waited and I waited, and it took an hour, and it took a while. I mean, it wasn't like just putting somebody under and then opening her up and then taking out the old hip and replacing it with a metal, a metal type, and closing her back up and stuff. So actually, I think it took the operation was about like a 2.5 hour operation. I got the phone call. I got the phone call from the doctor, and the doctor said is that she is in recovery and that she's doing fine, and she was going to be a little bit sore, but they had medication for that. And she said, if you want to come and stop in and see her, it'll be all right with him, but not to stay too long. And I said, that's fine. And I got into the car, went to the hospital where she was up in ICU. We talked a little. She was just starting to come out of the drug-induced trance that she was in, you might say. And we talked a little bit, and I said I was going to let her go. And as I got into the car, I remembered about the flower. So I drove back, and like I said, it was only about like 4 blocks from where I lived. And I parked the car in the driveway. I went to my mother's bedroom window, and there was no damn flower. It was totally gone. And the only thing I had to show was the picture of the daisy that I took. And this flower was in full, looked at me like it was when I took the picture, the flower was actually in full bloom. And so I went the next day. So I went back to the hospital that night, and they transferred her into a semi-private room. And I told her about the meditation and about the contact I made with my joy guide named Daisy. And I showed her the picture, and she couldn't believe it. And I said, well, there it is, I said, there's the picture. Well, throughout the years, with all the damn moving that I did, is that I put the picture in a book, and I should never have done it, but I was throwing away books, thinking that they were getting, starting to become dilapidated or whatever. So the picture of this daisy disappeared, you might say, and after all these years I have kicked myself in the rear for throwing away the damn books. But this is what I'm trying. But what I'm trying to get at here is that you never know what guides, teachers, master teachers, or friends or spirit friends are going to do to relieve your mind. Something that is classified as being crucial to you. Just like with Daisy, with the operation with my mother, that was crucial to me because I didn't think is that because of her age, I didn't think is that going under the knife, if you will, is that she was going to make it. Just like with my dad, I thought everybody thought that he was going to die because he had peritonitis caused by an adhesion from when he had an appendicitis, and he got very, like I said, very sick, and the surgeon who was going to do the operation said is that he had less than a 50-50 chance. But then again, my God, went into meditation. I was told by a doctor that he was going to guide this. It was a surgeon, by the way, that I got in contact with. Is that he was going to help guide the surgeon with the operation, and found out is that within a few hours I got a call from my dad's surgeon, and he said is that Dad came out of it with flying colors. So like I said, sometimes the spirit box can be, useful, just like as you can see, again, with all these papers here, I mean, with all the transcripts I've been doing for the last couple of days, I mean, there's a lot of things here that I really have to go back to find out which is actually useful to me. But like I said, getting into meditation like that, I feel is a better type, is really, to my way of thinking, is a lot better substantial communication with working with guides, teachers, master teachers, or with friends. Now, I have been in contact with Kevin. By the way, Kevin. I thought I'd just tell you. In fact, let me see where it is. Let's see. When was that? I'm looking here for something I thought you might be interested in. Since I was going to mention this, excuse me for just a minute, folks. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay. Let's see here. Just give me a. Oh, there it is. I found it. Okay, Kevin, your name came up. Believe it or not, somebody said to me, Kevin Hines. So I just let you know. But anyways, is that Kevin and I have, as you know, if you've been watching his on his channel about working with the circle, is that I decided to ask if there was something like the circle, working, with spirit, working with me, and not saying with not all the teachers, master teachers, or guides, or a lot of the new friends I have made, but I just want to know how many spirits belong to either another circle or a committee, or a commission, you might say. And so the answer I got was selected. So I said, well, who? So the word, like I said, so somebody said the word selected. So I said, so some of you people, or spirit, I should say, are selected to be working with me from a higher plane of existence. And they said yes. and and they said is don't worry about names. We were never we never existed on your third dimensional plane of existence, so names make no difference to us. We only give names as for a instead of saying like hey you or you there or whatever, a name is more advantageous to use if you want to make if you want to make communication. Okay, so I thought that was kind of so I thought that was that was interesting to say the least. Let's see here. One more thing I'd like to talk. Okay, we got Lizzie Borden. We got Alicia Lamb. Going to be working with her. Let's see here. Anything in this one? Let's see. Awesome Clark. Me run is finished. Okay. Let's see. Got that. I guess. All right. Okay, anyways, so I thought I'd just finish up on the subject of guides, teachers, and master teachers, and so I thought that you might be interested to hear just what I've been doing for the last few days, especially working with the what is it again? The afterlight box, and like I said, it is fun in the sense because I do get a lot of crazy responses. Let's see. I'm trying to look here real quick at the moment. Again, let's see here. I was told to chill. Okay, I was told to chill because somebody said "fuck you," and then I got some spirit said "fuck you," and then I got "hey you," and then after that somebody said "chill." And then another spirit came on and said, "Is talk," so like I said, it's really funny, as you know, if you've been working with this new device, this new device as well. In fact, I see here real quick is that I got from Edna. I called her and she said, "Yeah, babe," like, "Yeah, babe," you know. And then one said to me, and then I said a question I forget, and somebody said, "cheer up." And then a Veronica came through and she said, "Yes." And I forget just what the question was. I didn't write down the question, but the answer was yes. And then I got a response from a gentleman named Rich. He said it's possible. And then I asked for another name, and somebody said, "Back off, please." And I got written down here if it was somebody saying for me to back off with them, or if they were talking to another spirit. Okay. Okay. So anyways, it's like I said, Houdini has said to me he's here, and again Tesla, like I said, who really surprised me when I asked him how long, and he said for a long time that he has been with me, and like I said, I've been trying to contact him, but he's not eluding me, but I guess is that he might be over helping somebody on the other side creating something. So when Spirit decides to When spirits decide to contact you or talk to you, believe me, it's just like friends. Don't ever get teed off because you're not getting an answer from them. It's just because, just like I said, it's like trying to contact friends on the telephone or going to their house or whatever, and they just don't want to see you at that particular time because they might be busy or something. They might just say, I will call you, or I'll stop over on my way home or something like that. But they will always, once you start making connection with spirits, either as guides, teachers, or master teachers, is that they will stay with you until you say is I don't need your help anymore, or I want somebody to replace you because you're not really helping me or guiding me the way I feel I should be guided. And believe me, they'll be happy to in fact, they might even recommend a name to contact to be their replacement. Just again, like lower entities, is that just like the one when somebody, I got the communique, is that I just asked him to leave, and he said goodbye. Okay, so it's not really difficult. But like I said, if you really want to get into a repartee with spirit, I'm going to be talking about meditation here, and it's going to be a lot different than what you think meditation is. And I will be talking more about how to make that how to make that communication with spirit, and even how to have an astral projection that you can have like a one-on-one or a mano-a-mano with your guides, teachers, master teachers, and friends, and some other fascinating things that you can do while being in a meditative state. So, like I said, that's going to be an interesting door of the unknown that I definitely will be opening here. Okay, my producer is giving me the high sign, telling me it's time to go. And so, without further ado on that, I am going to say bye-bye until next time. This has been a production of Opening the Door to the Unknown in association with Dr. Clark Schmidt. Copyright 2016.